That is the
subscribe the
trade data.
channel,
First, I will
and
not
hit
go
the
in
like
now, but
button.
later. Okay. So last week we were successful. I discussed supply and demand, and I hope you understood what we support in surprise demand. I understood that in the first class. I also mentioned that the 4 pillars are candlesticks. As much as in the world with these candlesticks, more or less everything that's popular starts from here. So today we will basically know about another candle on a candlestick, which is called the engulfing candle. So what about the engulfing candle? An engulfing candle is basically what we have known about candles since before. A candle opens and then closes. How then? If it is on top, it is closed, and if it is on the bottom, it is also closed. Now, if the market is going down and for some reason a bullish candle suddenly appears, if you suddenly see such a bearish candle, the market opens from here trying to go down. What happens when the bearish candle is short? Little by little, it structures itself in this way from here. That is, the previous bearish candle, the sell candle, has been completely covered. This is when the previous candle is covered. Covering this, the 2 candles together are called the engulfing pattern, and the market uses this to indicate a trend change. What does trend mean? Trend means the market's movement in one direction, what we know as an impulse. An impulse movement happens, and at that point, when this type of engulfing is created, then the market's direction may change. So with the engulfing pattern, we see here that the former candle is completely covered. The candle itself is being called engulfing. And here, when a bullish candle is so big in the case of a sell, it indicates that the buyer who entered here has much more power in the current market. If you suddenly come across a bearish candle in the market, meaning if a bearish candle appears and you see that it has covered the entire last candle of the market, then you need to understand that it is a bearish candle. That is, with a bearish candle, a red or down candle, it is trying to cover the previous up candle, indicating a downtrend. So here 2 bullish and bearish candles are shown. The bullish candle is seen. Many people have questions about this, asking if it should all be in the body, can it include shadows or wicks? These types of questions arise. That's why it's done this way. Here you see it all along the candle, but it is covering it, so it is accepted. This is also why engulfing is considered valid. You can see that the top part is covered all along, and the candle is engulfing only if it covers it. Candles are shown, and they must close in. One is bearish, meaning a bearish engulfing if the large candle is on the downside. If it's upwards, then there is a bullish engulfing. This is a very important candlestick pattern. These candlestick patterns are very common in the market, and they work very strongly for reversals. Okay, so if we see a candlestick that totally covers another, we can consider it an engulfing pattern. That is, it is much bigger than the previous candle. Some people think that shadows should not count, but if it has a shadow and no body, you can still count that too. As you can see here, you can take it into account, but this one you can't. Let me explain. When the market has a bullish candle, if the large sell candle ends here but its candle ends lower, it is bearish. The engulfing won't be complete, but the candle will still be considered bearish. This is how it works. And if the next candle behaves this way, then you can count it. Which way should you go in terms of a reversal? It should result in a big movement, as we see here, but the candle has covered the previous one. And here we see a support or resistance level. This is a supply area that the market went to. Now let's look at more engulfing candles. This is a bullish engulfing pattern. When the bullish engulfing pattern breaks, we can take it as an engulfing signal. However, such corrections don't happen immediately, so you can't act on them too quickly. Okay? If you look here, this candle is very large. Many candles are appearing and covering the previous ones. After covering, which provides a lot of insight, you can see that there are many candles inside, but this one is covering the previous candle. However, you can't call this candle engulfing pattern because it has not covered everything here with just one candle. You should keep these things in mind. As seen here, the candle is covering and forming an engulfing pattern, but it hasn't closed above the previous one. In this case, the market may quickly reverse, so try not to take an entry too fast. This is somewhat confusing, but you should consider these points first. Now let's move on. We talked about the impulse wave. Remember, the impulse wave consists of 5 waves. What happens with these 5 waves? Wave 1 is followed by wave 2, then wave 3, wave 4, and finally wave 5. An important piece of information is that wave 3 and wave 4 are connected, and wave 4 is considered a correction. So what do we know now? When the market moves in a trend, we divide it into 5 parts. Then wave 2 is connected and wave 4 is also connected. That means there are 2 corrections in one impulse. There is no rest in an impulse, the rest is called the correction. And this is how an impulse wave works. How do we understand the impulse wave, or how is the impulse wave formed? Let's look at how an impulse wave is created. An impulse is formed by waves 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Inside the impulse wave, there must be 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 5-wave structure, and that's the impulse. In an impulse, waves 1, 3 and 5 are each impulsive waves themselves. So there are 5 movements here, and within these 5, 3 of them, waves 1, 3 and 5, are impulses. This means that there are 3 more impulses inside the larger impulse. Since wave 1 is an impulse, it will also contain 5 smaller waves. The same applies to wave 3 and wave 5, which will also have 5 waves within them. So within the larger impulse wave of 5 waves, we get 3 more impulsive waves. The same pattern repeats in wave 1, wave 3 and wave 5. Each will contain 5 smaller waves, and these smaller waves will also be impulses. In this way, the impulse wave is formed by 5 waves, and inside each of those you get more impulses. So what do we know again? After wave 1 ends, wave 2 is a correction. Then waves 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 complete the impulse structure. Impulse gave way, then correction came. In the same way, here we have waves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After wave 1, the correction came as wave 2. That means after this set of 5 waves, it will return to wave 1 again. Then the next set of waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will follow, and after 5, it will become wave 3. In the same pattern, after another set of waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it will become wave 5. So what will happen after wave 5 ends? Since there is nothing above wave 5, it will revert to wave 1 again. That is, after wave 5, it becomes wave 1 again. Then it becomes wave 2, and the cycle continues. 5 becomes 1, then 2, then 3, and so on. But this cycle keeps repeating itself. Impulse waves are formed this way. Inside a larger wave, there are 5 smaller waves. And in the same way, there are waves 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 within that structure. Impulse waves create very powerful movements, which are rapid changes in the market. So far, this has been the basis of our discussion. If there are any questions before tomorrow, we will prepare them. We also have this video, which our brother Suman prepared. We will review it tomorrow and have another review session. To summarize, the impulse is made up of 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with waves 2 and 4 being corrections. Additionally, waves 3 and 5 are impulses themselves. Since these are impulses, each will have 5 smaller waves inside them. As many impulses as there are, they will follow the same pattern. This is important to keep in mind. These formations are fractal in nature. You may not have known this before. Think of it like cauliflower or cabbage. When you open them up, you find smaller flower-like patterns inside repeating themselves. Just like that, the impulse pattern repeats, breaking down into smaller impulses. One thing will lead into another, forming a cycle. And in this way, everything is baked in. Here, you'll also find corrections with 3 waves. When we get to the class on corrective waves, we will learn more details. For now, we understand the total wave cycle, which includes wave 1, wave 2, wave 4, and 5 waves. That means what happens with these 5 waves? Among these 5, in the same way, you can see here that there are 5 waves. Then 1, 2, 3, also known as A, B, C, occurred with these 3 waves. Similarly, wave 2 occurred. In the same way, here we have waves 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and wave 3 occurred. It is seen again that through A, B, C 3 waves, wave 4 happened. That means in an impulse there are two corrections which are formed by three waves. So to summarize, an impulse consists of 5 waves, and each correction happens with 3 waves. So far we have been looking at impulse waves. It's all impulse. Now we understand that waves 1, 3 and 5 are showing that the statement appears. This means that after the 5 waves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there will be 3 corrections again. This forms a wave cycle with these 8 waves in total. That is, here there are 3 corrective waves and 5 impulsive waves. On the impulse side there are 5 waves, and on the correction side there are 3 waves. Now these 3 corrective waves are labeled A, B and C. Another one of these ABCs is an impulse itself. But where was this impulse born? In the corrective phase. It was born in a corrective phase. Where exactly is it born in this corrective phase? It is in the correction area. But what is it in itself? An impulse. If it's an impulse, how many waves will it contain? It will have 5 waves. Again, wave B is born in the correction phase. And corrections mean it happens with 3 waves, A, B, C or D. In this incident, wave C was also born in the correction phase, but it is an impulse because it contains 5 waves. That means there are 5 waves in this impulse, with waves 2 and 4 being corrections. So inside the impulse, there are 2 corrections, and inside the correction, there is 1 impulse. The total of these 8 waves is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, making 8 waves in total. Out of these, 3 are corrections, and what about the 5? I hope you understand. If not, we will repeat the video one more time. We will review it again tomorrow. So, when wave 1 occurs, wave 1 has 5 waves. After that, it goes to ABC correction. ABCD is wave 2. Again, 3 waves form after that, and it goes to wave 4. In wave 4, there are 3 waves, B and C. Then wave 5 is simple, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This completes wave 5 and ties back to wave 1 as shown in the next slide. If you look here, this is wave 1. This is wave 2. So how many waves are there? Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3, C. A total of 8 waves. Okay, so this total of 1 and 2 together gives 8 waves. Then you can see this again. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. At this point, A forms 3 waves, B forms 3 waves, and C forms 5 waves. Here again, wave 2, wave 1, and wave 9, 13 come out of these 8 waves. Similarly, the impulse breaks down again. The corrective phase breaks it. Thus, 144, then 256, and so on. The fractions keep breaking.